if you go out the masjid for a few minutes to get some fresh air, it does not break your i'tikaf. So, here is what I said. I said, considering the Jum'ah prayer is fard and Eid prayer is sunnah, if you have a choice between the two of them, Jum'ah is what should take your priority. That's what I said. But I didn't say that you must pray the two. I didn't, did I? I didn't say that. It may also mean, he's saying that since the masjid administration planned 5, 6, 8 prayer and only one Jum'ah prayer, then it must be what?
You tell me.
It means that the place and time cannot take more than this. That's all what it means. Because the time, that's what I'm saying. Because of the time, that's all. But if you pray Eid and you don't have means to pray the Jum'ah, the Eid would suffice. This was done, by the way, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, so that things are clear. This is not a personal opinion or personal feeling. The Prophet ﷺ realized that people come from the outskirts of Mecca to pray with him, outskirts of Medina to pray with him. So what he did was, he allowed people who are far not to come back for Jum'ah prayer because they already attended a Jum'ah prayer like prayer, which is the Eid prayer. Okay? So he allowed them, if they have difficulty coming to Jum'ah, not to come back for Jum'ah. But if they can make it, then it is for them to decide. Okay. Any other question? Yes. I cannot hear you, I'm sorry. Let me come to you. Excuse me. Okay, so the question is, do we have to pray Jama'ah in the masjid? Is it a fard? Like, if it is a fard, then your prayer anywhere else would not be acceptable. But that's not the case. So we know that it is a highly, highly, highly strong recommended sunnah for anyone who could make it. Who could not make it? He who could not make it could be living far away from the masjid. Like he doesn't have transportation, he doesn't have close proximity to the masjid. The scholars of early days, because there were no cars and stuff like this, they relied on the distance in which the adhan is heard. So they say, if you hear the adhan, you must respond, which means if you hear the adhan prayer, the adhan call, then you must come to the Jama'ah prayer in the masjid. Even Abdullah ibn Maktoum was having difficulty, and he was a blind man. And the Prophet ﷺ told him, do you hear the adhan? He said, yes. He said, come in. If you hear the adhan, follow the adhan voice until you get to the masjid. But for us having cars and everything and every means to protect from weather and stuff like this, we should estimate what is reasonable. Okay? Not everything, by the way, in Sharia is cut geometrically or engineeringly. There's a lot of room for people to make up their mind. Okay? And that's one of those. Okay, yes. Do we have to make adhan at home if we are by ourselves or just with our family? Or just iqama? Well, adhan or iqama at home depends on the situation. So if you are alone and by yourself, you have a choice to make the adhan or not make the adhan. To make the iqama or not make the iqama. Why is this? Because the adhan is an alert call. What does it alert us to? That the time of prayer is in. Iqama is another alert call. What does it alert us to? That the prayer is going to be standing right now. So both of them are meant to alert people who are not attending. So if you are by yourself, you don't have to do it, right? Neither iqama nor salah, okay? If you are with your family and you want to wake up somebody who's asleep or anything like this, make the adhan loud enough for them to hear it. Okay? Good questions. Okay. How long should it be? Well, it shouldn't be as long as proud kings and wealthy people would like us to believe that their wealth is reflected in their clothing. People who were very wealthy and arrogant, they used to make clothing very tall, very long, that they would be dragging them even behind them. The Prophet ﷺ prohibited that, and he connected the prohibition to pride. So he says, "Man jarra thawbahu khuyala'an," he who drags his clothing out of pride and self-boastfulness, then they wouldn't smell the smell of paradise. Okay? And when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, because he was a thin man and his pant would drag down sometimes, he wouldn't hold on because he doesn't have a big stomach like mine. So his pant would drag down, and he says, "Oh Prophet Muhammad, does this include what I can't hold my clothes set up?" And he says, "This is not about you, Abu Bakr. You are not a man of pride. ليس لك من الكبر حظ." Abu Bakr. So if people do not drag their clothing out of pride, but drag it out of fashion, fashion is like pride, but from a different angle. Okay? But if somebody is too thin, his clothing are not holding, it dragged against his will inevitably, then that's no problem, because this is like Abu Bakr. So how long should a cloth go? The clothes, according to the description of the Prophet, he says, "Ma tahta al-ka'bayni fi an-nar." Anything below the ankle is going to be into hellfire. Again, this has to be taken within the context of the other hadith, that if it is done out of pride. You can do that. No, but you cannot say this is for everybody. But if you feel this will give you pride, cut it short. The question is, this means that if I purchase a pant and the pant goes down below the ankle, I should cut it short. That's his question. And I'm saying that is true if you feel that getting it that long will make you proud and boastful. But if it doesn't, and that's the length that you have, it doesn't make any difference. Yes. What is how short? Pants? That's what I keep saying. Oh, the short, not the pant. He helped me in the wrong way. So short. How short is a short and how short is a shirt? By the way, the word qamis, which translates into shirt, in Arabic, qamis is jilbab. Okay? Qamis is jilbab. But that's not the answer to your question. The answer is, I mentioned about the pant. The pant should not go below the ankle, okay, if it conforms to the pride requirement. If it doesn't, then it doesn't matter, okay? The other issue about shirts. Shirts should cover your back in a way that covers your aura. So, as simple as that. It has to be long enough to cover your aura. Which brings us to another issue. The pant for a man should be like the pant for a woman. A woman wears her pant under the jilbab, right? A man's pant should not show the figure of his body either. It should be, if what is called today baggy pant is what we should all wear if we are to wear pants without jilbab over them. So tight pants are not acceptable. Pants that configure your body and show the figure of your body are not acceptable because they expose the figure of your aura. Okay? Yes. Surah Al-Imran, Surah Madaniyah. It was revealed well after the Battle of Badr and the Battle of Uhud. And the early parts of it, I think, if I'm not mistaken, The early parts were revealed earlier than that. So if you invest your money in a business, this will depend what kind of business I'm investing in. Because if I'm investing in a farming business, it's different because your money turns into either animals or commodity. Those are zakatable differently. But if you are investing in stocks or anything like this, then the value of the stocks would be calculated and the zakah will be on the value of the stocks you have market-wide. Whether it is in this company, that group of companies, you calculate all what you have after 1 year and you make it zakatable. You make zakah on it if it is zakatable, if it reaches the minimum level. Okay? Okay. Any other question? Yes. So the question is about people who reject hadith or reject the sunnah and they say we only follow the Quran. Well, basically, it's quite unfortunate to state the fact, and the fact is there is a huge push into the Muslim community to suspect the sunnah, to suspect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And some of the ways this is done is to tell us that the Quran is kept, the Quran is credible, the Quran is authentic, the Quran is undoubtful, but the Sunnah, and then they start hammering. Early on it was the Hadith in general. Recently it became not only Hadith in general, but Bukhari and Muslim, the most authentic references we have for Hadith. And then now they unveiled the reality, which is the attack is really on the Quran, because it's a whole strategy to discredit Islam as a whole. So they start with what they think the weakest link. Muslims acknowledge that there are a hadith that is weak. So let us attack them from this. Muslims are not sure that this had or this statement in the Quran or that hadith could contravene the Quran. The hadith should never contravene the Quran. And they use principles of interpretations because whoever is doing this are scholars of Islamic studies. They are not alien, and some of them are either ex-Muslims or Western in all the sense of the word, and they want to just attack Islam and the Quran, or they are poor Muslims of poor judgment, of poor knowledge Islamically, and they ride the wave just to make names for themselves. And we have unfortunately a lot of names that we can talk about, but the strategy should be clear for us Muslims. Do not see the mushrikeen, they used to say, the people of the book, they used to say, وَلَا تُؤْمِنُوا إِلَّا لِمَنْ تَبِعَ دِينَكُمْ. Do not believe or follow anyone who does not follow your religion. I think it is about time that we Muslims believe that claim. Do not follow anyone who is not following Allah, who is not respectful of the hadith of the Prophet, who is not respectful of the sources of Islam, that is Quran and Sunnah. The issue is much longer than this, but that's a brief summary in answer to your question. My time is 3 minutes away. Thank you very much. Yes, huh? Thank you for that confirmation.